The best trait to have is adaptability. In this picture right here, this is a picture from a video game of League of Legends named Kha'Zix. Kha'Zix is a champion that's basically an assassin, but he is very well designed, and what he is designed is basically an adaptive assassin. He could adapt and become quite versatile in any situation that's going on in the game. And because of this trait, Cossacks remain absolutely viable option throughout more than a decade of League of Legends history. And recently I've been playing League of Legends on my cell phone, the cell phone version, League of Legends Wild Rift. And when Cossacks came out, I immediately purchased him and got his skin. And it brings back computer gaming memories when I was playing League of Legends on PC. And the reason why I'm using Cossac's picture for this video is because that's what I want to talk about, guys. The importance of being adaptive. Now, the problem what I'm seeing, and not just in Western countries, but rather in advanced countries where, the country itself is not suffering any social upheaval or any actual crisis. In advanced countries such as Japan, Japan is a beautiful example right there, where the population are striving, but at the same time they have some social issues such as people not getting married, not producing children, not making family, and pretty soon the population will collapse according to some sociology experts, because in the near future there will be more old people than young people, which that could be a huge problem. And this is kind of like the point of me making this video. First of all, us human beings, we are highly adaptable creatures, just like Cossacks. Cossack is a highly adaptable void bug, and we're meant to basically be a highly adaptable, highly versatile creature that we're supposed to adapt to our environment. The problem is that right now we're living in the age of decadence where you could basically be a fully adult individual and still act like a child and still have a decent living. And sadly, guys, this is why we're seeing a lot of people going crazy, because our society allow people to act like childrens, even though their their age is what, in their 30s, 40s, 50s, even 60s. Like, I have a lot of stories to tell, guys, where I actually dealt with old folks that act like childrens and very immature adults, and it just boggles my mind when I see that. But what frightened me even more is when they have no shame. They have no shame, and they they on purposely sabotage themselves and make themselves poor, if that makes any sense. And sometimes I kind of not accept, but kind of makes me wonder and kind of accept this. Well, yeah, I kind of accept this idea that there's a fundamental reason why certain people stay poor and they're doomed to stay poor forever. It's all because of that mentality mindset. But anyway, guys, back to the subject of adaptability. Us human beings were meant to adapt to our environment. And if we adapt properly, we will not only evolve just like Cossacks, but we will also thrive and become highly successful. The problem is some people, they kind of refuse to adapt. They rather refuse to adjust themselves to work with the environment they're in. And that's because they know that in their brain, in their mindset, they're comfortable. And that's the problem. In the age of decadence, when you're living in comfort, your mind refuses to adapt to your environment. Like, what's the point of adapting when you're already comfortable? But that's another problem, guys. Think about the rise of obesity. Just to give you an example, thousands of years ago, obesity was absolutely not common. In matter of fact, if we were to time travel, like go back in time, like let's just say in the year 2000 BC, being fat and being overweight is literally a privilege. Like, no doubt, guys, it's literally a privilege to be fat and overweight, because back then you actually have to work, or otherwise you gonna starve yourself to death. You either have to work on the field raising the crops or hunt for your next meal. But today, obesity is not only common, but it's also a crisis, especially here you know in America. But that's an issue, guys. I'm For the past few years, I've been watching a lot of self-help videos. I've been watching a lot of financial videos, even videos that talks about mental growth, mental self-help, and other life coaching videos. They all basically have a common theme in their videos, and all I gotta say, guys, is it really comes down to adaptability and what you could do in your environment. I can't really, you know, say an answer, or I can't really um, explain an answer for every situation. All I gotta say, guys, is that the most important trait is adaptability. You have to adapt to your environment. You gotta navigate and learn, and you basically have to overcome your obstacles. And this is the point of this video, guys. If you want to have a happy life and become successful, and remember, not you're not going to be happy 24/7. The reason why we're emotional creatures is because we're meant to adapt. When we're sad, that means a tragedy happened and we know we lost something. When we're angry, we know that something that's not in our control. It's basically out of our hands. And when we're happy, we know that the situation is in our favor. See, those emotion is kind of like a navigation for adapting. And us human beings were meant to adapt. I mean, we're everywhere globally in comparison to animals, and there's a reason why we're all over the planet Earth. If you compare it to animals, it's because we're adaptable. We're adaptable species. Just like one of my favorite quotes of Cossacks, he says, "Evolve and adapt and overcome." Well, guys, I feel like I'm ranting at this point, but the problem, what I'm seeing in our society is basically this: people are refusing to adapt, and they're refusing to accept reality the way it is. In my previous video, I talked about how people make up enemies rather than dealing actual enemies and actual issues. And that's because, they don't want to accept reality for what it is, or they don't want to deal with their issues, their actual issues. They rather make up an enemy for them to make themselves feel good, and they rather make up stuff to make themselves feel good and not adapt to their environment. And to me, guys, this is the greatest tragedy, because I honestly believe that there's a certain reason why a certain group of people will stay miserable, and a certain group of poor people will stay poor forever. And the only thing that keeps them going and keeping themselves in that environment is their ego. And that's that's the biggest tragedy right there. But like I said, guys, as human beings, we're a highly adaptable species. And the most important trait that you could learn is being adaptable. If life gives you a lemon, well, all I gotta say is squeeze it and make lemonade. When you've fallen, you have to bounce back up. One of my favorite quotes from the famous general Patterson, he says that, well, I kind of forgot the quote, but he says along the line that I always highly respect the man that could bounce back up again. And that's the point, guys. Adaptability. The most important trait that you could have is your ability to adapt to your environment. Well, guys, I'm gonna end this video, and I think I ranted enough. And goodbye.